Meet Simon Guobadia, the man who claims every woman he's ever been with is a gold digger. His ex-wife Fallon, gold digger. His most recent ex-wife Porsha Williams, gold digger. In fact, according to Simon, he's never met a woman who wasn't trying to use him for his money.
Do you regret marrying her?
Absolutely.
This week, Simon made headlines again, telling Page Six that he absolutely regrets marrying Porsha Williams because she targeted him for financial reasons. But here's the million-dollar question. If every single woman you date turns out to be a gold digger, maybe the problem isn't them. This is the exact same story he tells about every woman he's been with. See, Simon wants us to believe he's this innocent victim who keeps getting taken advantage of by gold-digging women. Today, I'm going to show you the pattern that everyone is missing. By the end of this video, you'll see why Simon's marriages don't fail because of gold diggers. They fail because of Simon. Let's start with who Simon really is. Born in Nigeria in 1964, came to America in 1982 with big dreams. But here's the thing. From day one, Simon wasn't just building a business empire, he was building an image. Everything about Simon Guobadia is designed to impress people with his wealth. Even while struggling with immigration issues and using multiple aliases in the 80s and 90s, Simon was already obsessed with appearing successful and wealthy. This obsession with material status would become his signature move. Once Simon got his green card in 1991, he went into overdrive building his wealthy businessman brand. Oil and gas companies, real estate, renewable energy. But notice how Simon always made sure everyone knew about his money. His social media was nothing but luxury cars, expensive watches, private jets, and designer everything. This wasn't just success. This was performative wealth. Simon was using money as a fishing net, and he was fishing for a very specific type of woman. Sound familiar? The pattern is always the same. Simon meets woman, Simon shows off his wealth, woman is impressed, they move fast, Simon proposes marriage or serious commitment, relationship fails, Simon blames the woman for being after his money. When Simon married Fallon Pina, he wasn't just marrying a woman, he was buying his way into reality TV fame. Think about it. What does a man obsessed with status and wealth want more than anything? Fame. And what's the fastest way to get famous? Marry someone connected to a hit TV show. Simon loved showing off Fallon like another luxury accessory. Designer clothes, expensive jewelry, luxury trips, all documented on social media. But notice how quickly that marriage fell apart? Less than 2 years, and Simon was already moving on to the next woman. And here's where the pattern gets really obvious. While he was still married to Fallon, Simon was already flirting with her friend Porsha in the DMs. This man doesn't even wait for one relationship to end before he's fishing with his money for the next one. When Simon announced his engagement to Porsha Williams in May 2021, everyone focused on the betrayal aspect. But look deeper. Simon wasn't just betraying Fallon, he was upgrading. Fallon was a new RHOA cast member. But Porsha was RHOA royalty. More famous, more connections, more status. Simon saw an opportunity to trade up to a bigger name, and he took it. This man is so materialistic that he treats women like luxury cars, always looking for the newer, more expensive model. Look at how Simon courted Porsha. It was all about money and material things. Private jets, designer shopping sprees, expensive dinners, luxury vacations. Simon doesn't know how to show love without spending money because he doesn't have anything else to offer. And Porsha, who built her career on reality TV and loves the finer things in life, was impressed. But here's the thing. If you use money to attract someone, you can't be mad when they're attracted to your money. The wedding wasn't a celebration of love. It was a performance of wealth. Multiple ceremonies, designer everything, social media documentation of every expensive detail. Simon didn't marry Porsha. He produced a luxury event to show the world how rich he is. But notice something important. They had a prenup. Why? Because even while he's throwing money around to impress his bride, Simon is already planning for this marriage to fail just like all the others. Here's where Simon's pattern always breaks down. Once the wedding high wears off and real life begins, Simon has nothing left to offer. When Porsha filed for divorce after just 15 months, Simon's reaction was textbook. Instead of asking, "What did I do wrong as a husband?" he immediately jumped to, "She was using me for money." Same pattern, different woman. But here's what Simon doesn't want to admit. Porsha filed out of necessity to protect myself.
To do a prenup to do it the right way. I had to be more responsible this go round because I have a child. In my relationship with Simon, I felt that if I had him by my side, we could conquer anything. However, I started just realizing a lot of different things that turned out to be untruths. He wouldn't tell me what our finances were. I'm not gonna let a foreclosure notice come to my house and I can't pay it. Right. So I wanted to make sure if it happens, I have the money to help.
That doesn't sound like a gold digger cashing out. That sounds like a woman who discovered her husband was hiding serious problems and needed to protect herself legally. The divorce battle revealed who Simon really is. Instead of handling things maturely, he fought over every asset. The Rolls-Royce, the mansion, $560,000. This man who claims to be so wealthy was fighting his wife over money like his life depended on it. And then he started the blame game, claiming Porsha took everything. But if you're really as wealthy as you claim to be, why are you so pressed about one Rolls-Royce and some cash? The answer is simple. Simon's wealth might not be as solid as he pretends. When ICE finally caught up with Simon after 43 years, his materialistic facade crumbled. All the luxury cars, designer clothes, and expensive jewelry couldn't save him from the consequences of his decades of immigration fraud. This is when we saw the real Simon, not the confident millionaire businessman, but a scared man who'd been running from his past for over 40 years. Which brings us to this week's explosive interview. Simon telling Page Six he absolutely regrets marrying Porsha and claiming he was targeted for financial reasons.
Do you regret marrying her?
Absolutely. I said to her in one of my text messages to her, because she didn't respond because I kept asking her, why did you file for a divorce? And she wouldn't say anything. I tried to reach her mom. Her mom would not respond either. I later figured out this felt like a coup. I don't know if you're familiar with, that's how I felt. I was totally blindsided. I was no member of her family, whether on the mother's side, on the father's side, reached out to me. And the only person I actually reached out to was her mom, and she didn't respond. And so I essentially sent her a text message. I said this was a $5 million rehab project that I took on.
But this is just Simon's latest performance. He says, "I think I was targeted day one for financial reasons. When I filed for divorce from my previous ex-wife, she was in my DM praying for me. And I think I was in a vulnerable position, and I entertained it." But notice what he's really admitting here. He was getting divorced from one wife and immediately entertaining another woman in his DMs. That's not being targeted. That's being a serial relationship hopper who uses money to attract women. Guobadia represents a type of man that's becoming more common. Wealthy guys who use their money to attract women, then blame those women when the relationships inevitably fail. They never look in the mirror and ask, "What am I doing wrong?" It's always the woman's fault. The truth is, Simon doesn't want a real partner. He wants a beautiful accessory who will be impressed by his wealth and never ask hard questions. When he finds women like that, he can't understand why the relationships are shallow and short-lived. If you're building relationships based on money and material things, don't be surprised when those relationships are materialistic. If you want love, you have to offer more than luxury. You have to offer honesty, emotional availability, and genuine partnership. Simon Guobadia will probably continue this pattern, finding the next woman who's impressed by his wealth, moving fast, then blaming her when it doesn't work out. Because some people never learn that you can't buy love, no matter how much money you have. What do you think? Is Simon a victim of gold diggers, or is he a materialistic man who attracts materialistic women? Have you seen this pattern in other celebrity relationships? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more, and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.